All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for Coffee Kids and Crazy. We have a little bit of a change in our podcast. I have someone to introduce to you all. His name is Seth Doll.
Hello. Good to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Seth and I have been friends for, I don't even know it.
Probably
10, longer than
a
that.
little bit longer, yeah.
Yeah, 10 years. We worked together at Bethel in children's ministry. Had a blast. We have lots of stories.
I was your boss.
You were my boss, but I saved you a few times.
You saved me a lot of times. Yes,
So,
you did.
But Seth and I have the same passion and heart for families and kids and just really changing culture in the world. It's not just the U.S., it's the world.
Yeah.
So he's decided that I was a great option to do a podcast with after I asked him. And so he's joined us now for Coffee, Kids, and Crazy. So we're going to do a little bit different than we have been doing it. It's been a long break for all of you listeners out there. I know it's been a while. We are really doing the video this time, where I said that in the beginning last year. Never actually happened.
Never filmed it.
We didn't.
And now we're filming.
Now we're really doing
right
it.
out the gate.
So, and then because if you don't follow Seth Doll, you have to know that he is the king of memes. And so we thought we'd incorporate that into the podcast a little bit.
Yes, we have good memes for you.
Fun.
To explain if you're listening and to show you.
Yes.
If we can.
And we're going to try and post them on our social media when when it airs, so that you can actually go and see what we're talking about, because they're funny. So, yeah, so this is really just the beginning of the new Coffee Kids and Crazy. Same overall idea. We're here to help people. We're going to be having some great conversations about stuff that we're both really passionate about and feel like it's needed to talk about with families. And Seth is, he's like an older brother for sure. And he's a dear friend of our whole family. And I mean, it's just been absolutely so much fun to get together and do our podcast. So I'm excited for what's to come. But do you want to talk through the first meme that we've got?
Yeah. So our meme today actually comes courtesy of Danny Silk. It says, "You are entitled to your own opinion, to your opinion, but you are not entitled to tell me what mine must be." I love this meme, especially with what's going on everywhere in the world right now, with people trying to tell everyone what they're supposed to think, what they're supposed to do, what their opinion should be, and where they're wrong if they have a different opinion. And so I like this meme very much.
This meme also reminds me of Toddlers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely reminds me of Toddlers.
It reminds me of Toddlers just because I feel like, trying to convince a toddler why sleep is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, no, it's not. Don't try and convince me of such evil ways, mother.
Yes.
No, I'm trying to save you.
My 10-year-old, Lauren and I have been chatting because she is the master of staying awake.
Oh.
She'll transfer from mom to me, snuggle her daddy, talk to her daddy about her day. Like, wow, you really know how to not go to sleep.
When you called the other night, she was doing the chickens. She was doing something else. Is that like her job, or is that part of the not go to bed?
No, that's part of her job before bed, is to lock up the barn cat and put away the chickens and make sure there's no snakes out there in the chicken coop.
Oh, well, brave little 10-year-old.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
She runs the daddy. There is one.
Well, that's good. So we have a question that we have just asked people to submit some questions, and we took one, and just even from our other storehouse of questions that come in, because you guys have questions always, which is great, and we love the questions, so keep them coming. But we're going to dive into a question that I get often, but I think this one came through you.
Yeah, this came from my Facebook. And it has to do, I think it would be good for you to answer this. Start with this, and then I can talk as well. But here it is. Would someone mind explaining Danny Silk's fun, no fun concept to me? I think I'm misunderstanding it. The way I'm reading it is, you're not being fun right now, so you have to sit in a chair or go to your room until you decide to be fun around me, implying that the child must always be in a good mood, not experience real feelings ever. But that's not right?
Yeah. I've had this question before, actually, to a friend of mine, and just the concept of, we're not allowing our kids to be around us, that they have to be in a good mood, and that doesn't feel okay. Like we're all allowed to have our feelings, and I know that I'm not always in a good mood, and and I was
so this doesn't really have anything to do with you're not allowed to have real feelings.
not
Absolutely
even
nothing. No.
close. This is really about teaching kind of the culture and the standard for the level of respect that we have in our house. Because I don't know if you've experienced a toddler that is being not respectful, which is probably what's going on when you're introducing fun or no fun, is that there's screaming, crying, maybe throwing themselves on the floor or something like that.
Chucking toys at other siblings.
Yeah.
All of
And
it.
so they are, no fun to be around, so this is supposed to be the standard for our respect meter, if you will. So to be around me, I require that you're fun is the simplest way of putting it, but really it's respectful, loving, kind. And this is just teaching them that I don't have any relationships this close to me that are disrespectful and dishonoring. So if I'm at the park and, let's say something happens, I took a parking spot before somebody else, and I get out of my car and I don't realize maybe I wasn't intentionally doing that. This person is now angry at me and they're yelling and screaming, and I have a choice right there.
Yeah.
I can engage in a relationship of some form and have this conversation with a very disrespectful person, or I can choose to have a different standard for anyone that gets to be around me or talk to me, and get back in my car or walk away. And this is just kind of what we're teaching and modeling in our kids is, hey, there's a standard and we don't talk to each other this way.
Yeah.
We don't act this way. If you need something, I would love to help you.
Yeah.
Which is often kind of something I say.
Also, another area in this is the whole self-control thing. It's like, if you want to act that way, that's fine. You need to do it somewhere else.
Right.
And as soon as you're ready to come back, control yourself, it is, hey, we want our children to experience real emotions, feel their emotions. We don't want them to let their emotions take control of them, and they're just
violate all the relationships.
Because they feel mad about something. And so it's like, oh, this is a way to, you go over here,
right,
regain control, come back with respect, and come back into that inner circle, that close relationship.
Yeah. Which I think one of the things I've gotten from people is, God never removes himself from us. And there's not that harsh of a boundary line. But I don't know if you remember, the only way you can get to heaven is if what?
You confess that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead.
And so there's a requirement. So this is the same thing. I'm requiring something of you, which is self-control, which is a level of respect. And it's just to have a relationship, there's a requirement.
Yeah.
So to have access, there's a requirement. Now, parents, I would not encourage you to just be like, find a room and have the kids go in their room and never have a conversation about what's going on. That's not what we're doing.
One thing I really love that I think you and I talked about this years ago is, and I notice this with my own kids, is sometimes I need to actually explain what I mean when I say fun. So, hey, fun means when your voice sounds like this, when your voice is kind. Hey, when you're ready to not throw toys anymore, that's fun.
Right.
When you're ready to not throw toys, come on out.
Right.
Come back with us.
And totally. And that's the thing is, I understand you're frustrated. I understand you don't like the answer or whatever you just got.
So you're acknowledging their feelings, letting them feel them, acknowledging them.
But, throwing the toy at your sister is no fun.
Yeah.
So would you like to clean up your mess or would you like to go in your room?
Yeah.
So that's usually the dialogue that I gave there when they were younger. I don't have too many funner rooms right now.
Right.
I do have, I have a teenager. And so every now and then I'll be like, I'm not having any fun with this conversation. I'm going to go in my room, because I can't pick her up and put her in her room. So that's definitely not happening.
Yeah.
But I can say, this is what I'm going to do. So funner room still works when you've got older kids. It just changes in that I'm going to move myself.
Instead of have you go somewhere else.
Yeah. So I think just really thinking about the reality of the goal isn't separation. The goal is for them to gain ownership. and self-control. I had this conversation with a coaching call, and we were talking about this, and she uses timeouts. And I said, the difference for me of
timeout versus
for fun or room or timeout is, we say, okay, sit in the timeout chair for 10 minutes, and when the timer goes off, you can get up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's been required?
Right. Oh, I could go on for this for a while.
And I don't think that people understand that they're very different things that are happening. So the timer is, the kid is just waiting and waiting. As soon as that timer goes off, then I'm free, but there's no requirement.
No requirement to change what's going on inside you, to adjust yourself. It's just a certain amount of time. It's like, hey, you robbed a store. You have 2 years in jail. Yeah. As soon as your 2 years is up, you're out. Like, maybe your heart didn't change. Maybe your mind didn't change. Maybe your behavior's not going to change, but you did your time.
Totally.
But this is requiring a change, an internal change, not just an external waited out. I had a family I was counseling with a long time ago. Like, we literally stick our kid in the corner for 20 minutes. Like, 20 minutes. And so here's another approach I've taken is I said, okay, so what happens if your kid changes their heart, if they repent?
Right.
And change their heart, change their mind. They're ready to change their behavior. And it's only been 1 minute. And they're in the corner 1 minute or in a chair 1 minute, whatever. Now they have 19 more minutes to stand there or sit there.
How do you not just build bitterness right then?
That's exactly what I go from. Like, you actually potentially could be creating inside your own child inner vows that they are now making in that. It's like the kid, I will not talk in class. I will not
write
talk
1,000 times on the
Write 1,000 times. Like, you know what? At about 12, I've written it 12 times. Like, you know what? I'm never going to talk in class again. I'm done. I do not want to do this. I want to go to recess. Right. But then, okay, now I'm at 50. I'm like, my arm hurts. It's falling asleep. I'm really never going to talk in class. Now I get to 100. I'm like, you know what? I hate my teacher. Then you're at 150. I'm going to kill my teacher. Like, wow, what's going on in this kid's heart? Because he has a certain amount of times he has to write. What happens if our kid's sitting in the corner in time out? I was like, hey, I changed my heart at 1 minute, but I have 19 more to sit here. What can happen internally in those 19 minutes where it's like, you know what? I'll never do this to my kids. You know what? I'll never treat my kids this way. I can't believe my parents would just like, wow, my consequence for your behavior has now turned into, we have a very bad relationship. Your heart is in a way worse place. And so that's what I love about the whole, as soon as you're ready to be fun, and here's what fun means, come on out. Because like, as soon as you adjust your heart and you're ready to change your behavior, come on out.
Right.
Please come out. It's like, you could sit in there 10 seconds. Like, hey, you know what? I'm ready to not throw toys. Cool.
Which is so much of the aspects of discipline versus punishment, where if you've got 20 minutes, they repent in 1 minute, there's 19 minutes of punishment. Yeah. It's like you're still paying for your sin. Yeah. So I think all of that that's the hard part, is when I see parents get trapped in, it's the same thing as timeout. It's not the same thing. No. Because I'm so trying to engage my child in a level of empowerment and ownership. Because, I mean, we've been doing this for years now. I mean, Delaney just turned 15 and we started it early on. And, the shift that's happened and the culture that's happened in our home because of a language here has been amazing. But it's so much of the work, I think a lot of parents get overwhelmed with, how many times do we have to go back, when they come out of the room? Like, that's a real thing is, fun a room. Do you want to walk? Do you want me to carry you? Okay, I'm going to carry you, put you in your room. You turn around.
Or the no fun chair. Hey, come on out of the chair as soon as you're ready to be fun. Like, okay. And they jump out and like, you didn't change.
So I think that's another question is, how do we know as parents that they've actually changed their heart or behavior, especially when it's like instant?
Oh, come on. Talk about it. This is good.
So because I think that's a part where, they immediately are right behind you and you're like, almost frustrated because there's like no way that you do anything. Yeah.
And that's when parents are like, no, you need to sit there and think about what you've done and just like, okay, now we're back to you have a certain amount of time before I'll let you out.
Which I think this is for the parents right here, is that, if your child really is able to repent in a minute, are you able to let go of a punishment in a minute? Like, are you able to release what you feel like they owe you because there was chaos, because there was frustration, because there was pain, whatever it was. Because I think that's the piece that's hard for parents to settle in. I'm not ready for you to get up yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's part is what keeps us in the loop of, the punisher and different things like that, is I'm not okay with you repenting right now.
Yeah. I need you to do certain things before I decide you've changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I think watching my kids when they've gotten up immediately, I ask a series of questions. That's the best way that I know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to be fun. Oh, you're ready to be fun. What does that look like?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be fun.
I'm not going to throw the toy anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going to yell anymore.
Okay. So what happens if you do yell or throw the toy again? What should mommy do?
Put me back in the no fun chair. Send me back to my room.
Okay. So is that going to change your heart? Is that what the problem is? Is you throwing the toy, or is it you making a decision in your heart?
Me making a decision in my heart.
Seth is now the child.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we just went there.
So, I think you have to be willing to press in and ask some questions to help, because again, we're going for a discipleship in this moment. We're going for teaching them and leading them in their home. And I think one of the hard parts is, there's been moments where I will tell my kids, I am not doing okay. I need you to go to your room. I'm having no fun. I will come find you in a minute.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I have said.
I've totally said that. I said, Daddy's about to be no fun. I need some no fun time. I'm going to my room. But there's those moments where I actually also need to regain control of myself before I do something that hurts you or destroys our relationship or that I'll regret. Like, hey, you've been doing some stuff that's no fun, but I really feel no fun too. I need a couple minutes. I'll come find you soon.
Yeah.
I've totally had to do that.
Which is what I would suggest if you've got, for me, those moments definitely came when somebody hit or hurt another child. Like that was always, the mama bear comes out. I am frustrated and angry. I want to be the protector. So in those moments where I know that I need a space to cool down, it's usually like, I'll come find you in a minute. And then I engage back with the questions, because I don't want to be seen and act as the punisher, but that means I have to manage myself.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just give grace endlessly and feel like I'm never making any progress.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the other thing that happens.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I think one other thing I want to say is, like, when it's, hey, fun or room, I don't think it's necessarily showing the kids God separates from you when you misbehave, but you actually separate yourself. You go into another room. You separate yourself by the way you're choosing to talk, to throw, to do stuff. And so I'm actually having you separate, but it's a picture of you're separating from us with your behavior. As soon as you change your heart, change the way you're talking, come on back to us. That's what it feels like to me. It's, it's like, yeah, God never leaves us, but we do some things where he sets the boundary. We move away, but we're the ones separating ourselves from him, not him from us.
Yeah, completely. And I think that this is, again, modeling the father as you parent is a big job. And I think that's the managing yourself, managing your heart, leaning into, I'm going to protect this relationship, which means I'm going to have a boundary, which means I'm going to take good care of myself, which means that you're going to have to sit in your room until I'm ready to have this conversation. And, or come back to it or whatever it is. But I think, again, with fun or room, I know a lot of parents that I talk with, they get exhausted over, I think they're looking for a quick fix in a lot of sense. And I always say that the toddlers you're on the front lines.
Yep.
You are in the front lines of your family culture, because you are setting it for what's to follow after this, and though you can't see it, that 3-year-old eventually is going to be 13. And I promise you, you want to have, these concepts and these, this language around it understood and happening. Otherwise, it's going to look a lot different.
I love what you say. You say teenagers are basically just 2-year-olds with body hair.
Yes, I stole that from my father, but that is a...
And I've used that a lot. And like, I'm actually going to need this practice.
Yeah.
I'm practicing right now. I'm creating a culture. I'm practicing for myself as well, so that when you are 13, this is not just normal for how I've treated you. This is normal for what's going on inside me. I've practiced for 13 years doing this. So now I'm actually more ready for when you're 13, because I'm going to need this stuff again that we handled it too.
Yeah. I think looking at Delaney or even Adeline, who's 11, when I say I'm not having any fun, that's about it. Mm-hmm. There's not much more after that, because it's, I did it when we were 3.
Yeah, they know exactly what you mean. They know exactly what's coming. You know what else I love about fun, no fun, that language, is it feels like teaching our kids right from wrong, super important.
Right.
It really matters, right from wrong. But this is teaching relationship, not just do what's right, don't do what's wrong. Because that's, that can create a culture as well of as long as I just perform really good, we're good. As long as I just do all the right things and I don't do the wrong things, we're really good. And this takes it deeper to be, actually, I'm not enjoying what's going on right now. So it's not just that's wrong what you're doing. It's this is how it's affecting me. I'm not enjoying this. This isn't fun. But it's teaching relationship. It's teaching protecting each other's hearts. It's teaching keeping other people in mind besides myself, not just... We don't talk like that in our house. That's not the kind of language we use. We don't throw toys at each other. All that matters, but the fun, no fun is kind of oh, my actions are actually affecting my family in a way that they're not enjoying anymore. So to me, it's this, I love this language. It's deeper than right and wrong. It's how you're affecting the heart of the people around you.
So good. Yes, I agree.
I love it.
All right, so
this is fun. Are you having fun?
I'm having fun. Are you?
Should we stay here together and sit here a little bit longer and keep talking?
Keep going.
Can I keep talking to you, or do I have to go to the other room?
No,
I'm in my fun chair.
You're being fun to be with.
Okay, good.
You're good. I do want to. I just want to leave with a little bit of a testimony. Kind of the crazy bit. We always try to leave with a little bit of a fun, inspiring, just hopeful. You can do this type of message. So I know that I have just the testimony that I've seen with Fun to Be With. I briefly kind of shared Delaney's 15, and we started this when she was 1. I don't know when you started with your kiddos, but she was 1. And I remember I would flick her hand over and over again. And that's what I was trying to do to get her to stop. She was opening DVDs, the cases, taking out the DVD and chucking it across the room like it was a Frisbee. Which was, now everyone's like, oh, gosh, you had DVDs. I'm like, yes, those were life. I didn't have cable. So it was everything I needed to feel like I was connected to adults.
Way back in the day.
Way back.
DVD day.
Way back then. So I remember flicking her hand over and over again, and to the point where I'm like, I feel like she's going to have a welt in a minute. And this kid is so determined, nothing's stopping her.
She's a you.
She's me and Ben for sure. So anyways, I talked to my dad and I'm like, this is not working. And he says, try Fun Room. And I'm thinking, she's 1. There's no way this is going to work. And he's like, just try it. I'm like, okay, I'll try to prove you wrong. That's totally what I thought I was going to do. I was going to prove you wrong. I don't know why I haven't learned yet. But so.
He's pretty much always right.
Oh, gosh, it's so frustrating. So frustrating in so many ways. But so I'm doing Fun or Room. I look silly because I got my fingers.
I think you need to say that because. I remember when you taught me this, a 1-year-old does not understand what you mean by fun. And it's something we talked about a little bit ago of the whole, you sometimes need to explain what you mean by fun. Hey, when you're ready to not throw the toy, that's fun. But you,
put my fingers,
put your fingers like you're smiling. This face is fun.
Happy tone. And then I would do a sad face and go room in this deep voice, over and over. Happy.
Fun
room. Yeah. Lincoln turned it into happy. So it eventually changed. But so I remember doing that and putting her in her crib And, you know, at first she was like, what are we doing? She wasn't phased. And then she caught on and then would cry. And then I go in there after a few minutes, be like, happy, let's be pretty fun, and get her out. And I was like, I don't know if this is really working. Until the very end of the week, she would crawl towards the DVDs and I go, oh, no fun. Fun room. And she'd look at me, and then she did it anyways. I remember sticking her in her crib, and I came in her room and I said, fun room. And she sticks one finger on her cheek and goes, which was happy.
Fun. Yeah. I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
I'm
happy
going to be
and fun. I was like, oh my gosh, I have a cave child, but it's working, you know? And I was shocked that this 1-year-old grasped this concept that I'm requiring something of her at 1. Mm-hmm. And it took me being consistent for about a week. And I remember doing it in my room, in our little living room that we had, and just this consistent funner room. And after that, things totally shifted. Wow. So, I mean, again, you're on the front lines.
And I've noticed that with my kids a lot, is like, if you're just consistent for, like, our 4-year-old, he's now 4. I'm like, we did this with him at bedtime, like fun or crib. You can stay in your big boy bed as long as you stay in your big boy bed. But if you leave your big boy bed, you have to go to your crib, where he couldn't, at this point, he couldn't get out of it. Like, and it was literally 2 days. And I'm like, Lauren, I've just been consistent for 2 days, and he is now
figuring it out.
But he got it. But it's that consistency. I love it. They're sharp.
So they're quick learners. In the game is what I want to say.
And one more thing I think I need to say is, we want to represent God. We want to parent. We want to show the Father to our kids. We want to, and I think that's the heart of this question, is like, are we really trying to say God separates, pushes us away, leaves all that? I think that's the heart of the question here, is how does that show God to my kids? And I think the beautiful part of this is, and I've used this in kids' church over and over when I've had to set boundaries with kids in kids' church, 100 kids in the room, all this stuff. It's like, my goal is not to get you away from me. My goal is to keep you near me. Yeah. Here's what I need, because I want to be with you. I want you to be with me. And the heart is, I'm requiring this so that we can be together, so that we can walk together, so that we can live together. I'm not trying to say, I'm trying to get you away from me. I'm trying to keep you close. Here's what I need, so you stay with me. Yeah.
So good. Oh, Seth, I'm so excited for our podcast.
Me too.
It's so much fun. It's going to be amazing. Well, thank you. And I'm ready for this new season and this new podcast and all the fun things to come. So we'll see you guys next time.
We will. In another episode.
Yeah.